Hey guys, welcome to another Trade Genius podcast. Bob and Philip here as always. Guys, the market's pulled back a little bit today. We're not going to get on our high horse and say, we told you so just yet, but others are starting to chime in on the state of the markets here and how things are looking so screwy. We're going to show you some more charts to show you just how over the skis things are, because if you're not comprehending where we are here and how disconnected things are, you could wake up and be in a world of hurt. We don't want you to do that. So let's dive into this video. We'll show you the data.
Trade Genius.
Hey guys, I'm gonna tell you something that we do that really will change the way in which you look at trading and also absolutely help you increase your profitability and how much money you make. It's the Trade Genius newsletter. We put the newsletter out Sunday night through Thursday night, and this really looks at the plumbing of the markets and helps prepare you for the next trading day and help you make money. And we give you a lot of information. We give you market statistics, we give you market levels, we give you the seasonality, what's happening with different sectors of the market, and we will help you identify whether the market's in a bear mode or a bull mode, or whether it's euphoric, whether it's despondent, and it just puts you in a position to be on the right side of the trade. So take advantage of our offer that we have below, and you'll love it. I mean, one trade that you make with this thing can pay for definitely a month, maybe even a year's worth of service. It's that powerful. Use promo code podcast for 15% off the retail price of newsletter. Thanks for listening.
So Bob, Druckenmiller chimed in today, and he's no slouch. I mean, that guy usually when he says stuff, it's not just, it's not like these other guys that, like Kramer's, just do the opposite, or some of these bigger banks, like Goldman Sachs, when they talk, they're talking their book, trying to sell you something that they're trying to offload. He's usually pretty accurate.
Yeah, in fact, you can make the case that he's the greatest investor in our lifetime.
Right.
And so this article that that we're referencing today, he says he normally can flip back and forth through about 5 or 6 different asset classes, basically playing them off each other, based on the non-correlation to each other. But he said they basically all have lined up into a worst case scenario. There's no place for him to hide. And in fact, the place where he was hiding was in NVIDIA and in Microsoft. If that doesn't tell you everything. So the last of the great generals is being invested by the last of the great investors. And he basically says that it's a bloodbath is coming. Hard landing is coming. He said the fact that they've been able to paper this over for as long as they have means nothing. He said it's just a matter of time, and it was probably everything to do with Janet Yellen throwing money out of her TGA account to keep the balls in the air. But he said this is the most convoluted sentence I ever heard. He basically said, he goes, "I'm confused. Let me just short circuit it." And if the greatest investor in the world is confused, then we should be in a world of hurt. And I think that's where we are right now.
Yeah. I mean, he's not saying like, hey guys, the greatest bull run we've ever seen is afoot. I think it tells you one thing and one thing only, is that with uncertainty and with like things like the VIX at all-time lows, the path of least resistance, especially when you've had some of the run-ups that we've seen, is going to be down.
Yeah, and look, here's the thing too, is and you ship 2 really cool charts. Bring up the Russell and Tech. This is a ratio between the two. And whenever this gets to like nosebleed levels, and we just now basically double topped it, the reversals are swift and sure. The next chart is basically showing you just how disconnected the NASDAQ has been to financial conditions. And today was the first day that actually investors, traders were speaking to the tighter financial conditions for the reason why they started to sell some of their shares today, Phil. And if this thing starts, an avalanche starts with a snowflake.
Right.
And if they start going and then people realize, hey, this zero TT call game is over, just like what happened in 2021 with SoftBank doing this, that call selling game that they did to basically vacuum the market higher. If the zero TT is just a derivation of that game, if that game's over, we're coming down hard and fast. I mean, look at this move, Phil. You're talking basically 1,200 points on the NASDAQ 100. Yeah. Okay, that's 14%.
Yep.
Scary.
Yeah, and I've made references to August of last year because we had that run up and then it stalled out pretty quickly in reverse course. But when you look at that time period on this chart, it's not even nearly as bad. I mean, what this chart's implying is, like you said, we should be, 1,200 points lower on this index right now. So you just can't be getting invested up here. And I know everybody says, oh, a sell's never going to come. I can't tell you how much bullishness I'm seeing all across the board. I even see it in our trading rooms because, people are conditioned for this thing to just keep going up. But I can tell you right now, when everybody's on the same side of the boat, they can't see any catalyst for the downside. That's when the boat capsizes. Happens every single time. There's no difference than any other time in this market. And the reason is that we're just not in the bull market right now. You can't really take off when you have financial conditions this week. You have quantitative tapering QT, right? See, you guys are all used to a QE environment. I mean, heck, we all are. It was basically most of what we've seen in the last 10 years, but we're not there anymore. This is aggressive tapering, aggressive liquidity drain. And now you've got Yellen, who has started one of the biggest builds she'll ever do from one of the lowest balances she's ever had. So she spent all her energy to keep this market. And if you zoom out, this market is essentially flat, Bob, right? I mean, we've chopped back and forth through these levels how many times? And now we're in a position where we are going to do the biggest liquidity drain that we've seen yet since 2022. And your financial conditions are in a biggest disparity we've ever seen, maybe ever. So there's massive air under this market, and it's starting to go. I think you saw it a little bit today, and we definitely were taking note of the fact that Janet Yellen will show the liquidity chart tomorrow, but right, Bob, 40 some odd billion she took out of the market, essentially with the liquidity drain through the debt issuance. So, and all of a sudden the market has a hard time getting a bid.
Yeah, and then also the banks went back into repo again. So, and then
Right.
if the Fed's doing QT, look, if you take every piece of data individually, they're all negative.
Yep.
Crypto's getting hammered now from a regulatory standpoint, right?
Yep.
The dollar's ravaging the commodity markets. Demand is ravaging the energy markets. The Fed is ravaging the financial markets in terms of real estate and commercial real estate and bank loans. So I want to know the catalyst, and not the wall of worry. You hear people, oh, it's a wall of worry. That's not a wall of worry. This is a tsunami of grief coming. And I don't understand how people be complacent. This is your money, put it aside. I mean, I'm thankful every day that I get these big bounces in my long term, bought some more treasuries yesterday. I went ahead and battened down the hatches on more in the money sold calls on my Dow stocks that we own. I'm lashing down for a Cat 4 hurricane, and I don't think people are really realizing what's happening. It's funny, Phil, because you and I have been doing this a long time, and you've been in the crypto space. People think, oh, people are bullish. You get into crypto bros, right? When they're pushing 21,000 and pushing 65,000, people thought you were Satan incarnate if you mentioned that it can go down. And this is kind of how we are right now with the market. You talk to people and they're saying, you just don't understand, Bob. And I'm like, oh,
Right.
I understand all too well.
No, 100%. And like I said, I think the bullishness is at a fever pitch. I think cryptos have enjoyed a very gracious first half of the year. Historically, the altcoins don't have such a what I would consider an extended bear market rally. It's usually it's a lot shorter. But I think it just comes back to the amount of liquidity that we've talked about being pumped into the system. We'll review that tomorrow. And I think that this cycle's been a little different and a little skewed because of just the enormous amount of liquidity that was pumped into the system. So it's taking a little longer. We're getting the market bounces are a little higher in the bear market. So it looks like we're coming out of a bear market or a new bull market, but in reality, it's just a lower high bear market bounce. And I think that's all it is. But the next part of this drain is going to be, I think, the one that kind of takes it's just going to take the wind out of everybody's sails, and I think it's going to hit them when they least expect it. And I think that's right about now. I know we've been saying that for a while now, but I think it really came down to this debt ceiling because Yellen the whole time was propping the market up with her balance of her funds that she drained out.
Yeah, Phil, look, right on cue. As soon as she got permission to sell bonds, the market stopped going higher. So
Right.
every day this week, every push, the zero T crowd tried to push the market higher. Every one of them failed today.
Yep.
And they flipped the puts later today. So, I mean, you saw some crazy moves earlier in the day, which, we're kind of expecting. I wasn't ready for this sell-off to start until middle of next week in earnest. And when that failed today, I'm like, hey, maybe they're going to front run this thing while everybody's waiting for the VIX to flip. Maybe
Yep.
the smart money is going to start this sell-off a little bit early. And so I bought TBT today, and I went ahead and I got those SVXY puts for July that I mentioned that I would wait till Monday to our subscribers. But I put a note out today. I said I bought both of those today because And look, TBD paid us today. I mean, it shot right up. And that's what you got to watch, man. If there's, and this is what happened in the last sell-off, when stocks sell and bonds sell and the dollar's up, there's no place to hide unless you're short or you're in short-term treasuries now that they've given us 5%. And that's where you guys need to be. You need to be short the market in cash or in 60, 90-day treasuries right now. And if you can't, you better sell calls against everything, or you better be in some pretty sweet dividend-paying stocks. I think that's going to be your only defense.
I totally agree. You know, one thing, Bob, I was going to mention, a lot of people that are actually bearish, which there aren't a lot of them, are thinking maybe we hold up in OPEX. But I like your point that this market may not wait for OPEX. This might start sneaking down, and it's going to catch not only the bears that are waiting for the drop, but the bulls that are just ready to buy the dip, and everybody gets caught off guard. And like we've been saying, you kind of have to just be hedged going into this zone because you just never know when the drop's going to come.
Yep, totally agree.
All right, guys, thanks for watching this video. Please hit like and subscribe. Let us know your thoughts below, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.
Trade Genius.